Tyler Lorenz started Residents in Recovery to help create a continuum of care for those facing addiction and mental health issues. The organization has come a long way since they first opened their doors in 2018. I went and sat down with Tyler to find out how the last year went and what the plan is going forward. Your organization is well known and respected throughout the community, but just in case somebody didn't know, could you tell me a little bit about what Residents in Recovery does?
Sure. Yeah, it's a good opportunity to share what we do here. Residents Recovery started as a sober living organization where we provided pre and post-treatment sober living to individuals. We have 4 sober living houses throughout the community. In the past year, we've expanded into family sober living, and we have 2 multi-family complexes in which we provide post-treatment family sober living to single parents with children. And in the past year as well, we opened Family Healing Center, which is a program for mothers with children at risk of apprehension, in which they can do an inpatient residential treatment program and do that with their children. And then we've also taken on the former Greyhound bus depot, in which we offer childcare for all of the clients that we have with children in our program. I think right now we have about 40 children in our program.
So you're in the life-changing business.
Yeah, for sure.
And in order to scale up like that, you know, there's a lot of people who are trying to do good work like this, but it's so hard to scale. How have you found it bringing on partners and working with the communities and government agencies in order to expand this work?
This community has been phenomenal. I mean, we work very closely with a number of different organizations in Lloydminster to do what we do. Midwest Family Connection supports us a lot. Both Alberta and Saskatchewan Child and Family Services, Onion Lake Family Services really support our mandate in supporting those families.
I understand that earlier in this week you had a very busy day for the organization. It was the AGM. So can you tell me a little bit about how that went?
Sure. Yeah, it was a really good opportunity to talk about this past year. We had all this growth in our last fiscal year. So last summer is when we bought our first multi-family complex for the family sober living, where we took over the old Harris House for our Family Healing Center. So we grew by over 550% in a year, and we went from 6 full-time staff. Right now we're almost at 40. So I was not prepared for what it was all the things that were gonna come along with growing so quickly, so fast. The financial piece of that was stressful. You think growing quickly, we have growing revenues, but unfortunately the expenses come up long before the revenues do when you're growing quickly. And that piece has been an extreme amount of stress. Probably something we would manage differently if done again. And and then the employment piece, the staffing difficulties, finding staff, qualified staff. We took on a lot of staff that maybe weren't as qualified as we wanted them to be, just because we didn't have a huge labor market here, right?
Well, I know you talked a little bit about working with potentially new communities, and you've decided that you're going to try to not grow another 500% this year. Maybe 250 would be plenty. Is there any real specific goals, either personally or professionally with the organization, that you have set for the upcoming year?
Yeah, I think the real focus is going to be on that child piece.
Yeah.
It's really the one area that we really just need to spend some time and focus on, really building the child educational program and how we best support all our children in the program, whether they're preschool or school age. And as well, we struggled this summer trying to figure out what to do with all the school age children that were out all summer, and really putting together a strong program for them for next summer is definitely going to be a priority for us.
Is there anything else that you'd like to add?
No, I appreciate the time and talking with you and sharing a little bit about residence recovery and where we're going.
Yeah, I thank you so much for giving me some time today, and I have a feeling that we're going to talk again before the year is out.
Yeah, awesome.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lloydminster Public Library's business plan was presented to Council during the meeting this week. Our Sarah Baker has more.
The Lloydminster Public Library presented their business plan, which displays the impact it has on the community. Council members were excited when they saw the numbers and the findings brought forward in the presentation during the meeting.
When we looked at the impact it's had in terms of visitors, we looked at the impact it's had in terms of renewal of cards, new members, that's phenomenal. I think the place it's in is a busy place, and it's really met that need of people having access and dropping in and seeing it. And when you walk through, it's a nice, bright place, and there's a lot of spaces for people to do things. So it was a really good news story today.
Another item which was presented regarded revenue. However, there were questions brought forward from Council in the accuracy of the values presented.
From my experience, I do know that the cost of the revenue we get from the Lakeland Library region is actually quite high. So, if you're to net those things, the level of support we're getting from the Saskatchewan side from a financial perspective is maybe not nearly as significant as it appears on the report. And actually the amount of support received from the City of Lloydminster for the Lloydminster Public Library is a considerably higher percentage than maybe was that appeared on there.
Community engagement was a big part of the library's presentation. Not only were new ideas brought forward, but there was reflection on how successful the programs and services the library already provides have been.
What they do really well is really drawing people in and helping them to access different services. So it might not just be that they're looking for library materials like books and CDs, but they might be looking to navigate to other services like healthcare services or social services, or access the internet so that they can register for programs or fill out documentations.
Further discussion of whether or not the library's business plan will be approved will happen in a future meeting. Sarah Baker, Primetime Local News.
A new program for the AJHL is underway to empower young Albertan hockey players on ending gender-based violence. Around 16 teams in Alberta were picked to partner up with the Alberta Council of Women's Shelters for these training sessions, and among them is our own Lloydminster Bobcats. Our Shelby Clark spoke with the head coach for more.
Joining us today for Primetime Local News is Bobcats head coach Nigel Dubé. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today, Nigel.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, glad to be able to have you on here, because it's really important to be able to help get the word out about this. This is a very interesting program that's coming up with the Alberta Council of Women's Shelter, that they're announcing that the Canadian Women's Foundation will be funding upcoming training sessions for the AJHL for a lot of teams here in Alberta to participate in the Leading Change program. So I really want to be able to speak with you on this and help get the word out. So can we kind of start off with you explaining what this program exactly is?
Yeah, so they'll be coming into Lloydminster, and we have time set aside for our players to sit down. There's multiple sessions that we'll go through in leading change, and a big part of it just educating our players and our staff on different areas that needed to be addressed. And I think a big part we see around us in the world, everything that's gone on and continues to happen, and this will give our guys some guidance on what they can do to be positive role models in the community and lead that change and help out in that area.
And how did it feel when you kind of heard this announcement that, of course, with the Bobcats have been picked and selected with the amount of other teams in Alberta that are going to be a part of this?
Yeah, it was really exciting, and it's something, as our league that we've looked at, for multiple years. And I think the pandemic kind of slowed things down just with what we were able to do. But we held sessions, via Zoom in different areas. And for this one, leading change is a big part of it. And our guys need to understand, what is right, and what needs to be put out there as the message. So for our league to take these steps and the partnership, I think it's something that we'll see for years to come in the future, and making sure that our players are educated, our staff's educated, and overall our league has that education. So I think it's a great partnership across Alberta, and we're thankful to have it.
And do you know exactly how this program is really going to work for the building leaders in violence prevention, just for what the team is going to be having to do for this program and how the training is going to work out?
So it's a really set out program for that. We have set aside 2 hours for our first session. So we're actually our performance center will be set up. So once we finish practice, our guys will come over. It's the first session's 2 hours, and then there's two more breakout sessions of an hour, and potential for more down the road. So the speakers will come out, and they'll have a presentation set up for the players, and what that presentation looks like right now. I haven't seen even myself, but looking forward to sitting in on it as a coach too as well, and listening to it, and learning from the opportunity.
And from your perspective as, a head coach for the Bobcats, for kind of getting involved in this program, and I'm assuming with all the other coaches with the other teams, why do you personally believe it's important and how this will benefit your players?
Being able to be explained, and go through the presentation of what is right, and how you can be that role model when it comes to leading and change. And I think that's super important. And we're very active in the community. If you look around at all the things we do in the community, and work with Inclusion Alberta, Inclusion Lloydminster, and this is another step for us, and just being more educated on what we can do, and how we can help continue to spread the word out there, and lead by example, and lead by change.
And for people out there watching this right now and just kind of, really, really finding this interesting and wanting to help support, do you know a way that people can kind of help support you and your team with this program in a way?
Yeah, the information for it's on our league website, and I'm sure there'll be continued updates as the presentations start, which for some teams will be rolling out right away. I think that'll be a big part of it, and then just continue to follow along on that jersey journey, and seeing that evolve in our league, and the message be spread out that way. So ajhl.ca, and the information will be there and continue to be posted there.
Perfect. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us today, Nigel. I'm really glad we were able to help get the word out there. I don't know if I missed out on anything. Is there anything more you want to add on this?
No, I think it's great, and I look forward to having the opportunity once we have our presentation to dive deeper into it, and what it looked like, and I think that's an exciting part for us, and like I said, just for our guys to be the role models, and help spread positive words, and that's what we're here for, and looking forward to continuing on.
Perfect, Nigel. Well, once again, thanks so much for taking time out of your day to be able to join us today, to be able to speak on this, and have a good rest of your day.
Thanks so much. You too.
Well, it was a beautiful day out today, and to find out what the rest of the week might look like, let's check in with Shelby Clark with the weather.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ian Tidswell. I love that walk-off there. You're doing a great job for your first time doing the show. Honestly, he's doing amazing. So thank you so much for that introduction. Taking a first look at your weather forecast here in the border city now. We are seeing a beautiful day. You are correct, Ian. We are just sitting at 20 degrees with a mixture of some sun and cloud. Saw a lot more sun peeking behind those clouds throughout the day, so hopefully everybody got out there and enjoyed it, because it was quite beautiful, and we are still just sitting at 20 degrees. So who would expect to see this, here in middle of October? Hopefully this lasts throughout the month, but knock on wood, let's really hope. I'm hoping it lasts through winter, but what am I saying? It probably won't. But I think we can all try and stay positive. Switching over to temperatures across the region for Alberta and Saskatchewan. On the Alberta side, seeing similar temperatures in most spots. Most actually just seeing 21 and 22 degrees over on this end. 20 degrees up in Bonnyville, while there's 21 up in Lac La Biche. Most are seeing that 22, like we were saying, and then seeing that 23 over in Edmonton. And we go a bit lower to Provost, just seeing 24. So looking pretty warm over on our Alberta side. Can't really complain. Switching over to our Saskatchewan side, although they are a few degrees cooler compared to our Alberta side. Some seeing that 18 and 19 up in Isle Cross and down in Maidstone at 18, 19 for Pierceland and down in North Battleford, and seeing that 20 to 22 degrees in the rest. So not looking too much cooler compared to the Alberta side, just by a couple degrees, but still looking quite warm, I would say, for the Saskatchewan side for sure. And for North Battleford, they will be going down to a low of that 2 for their evening low temperature. So seeing that single digit, but still seeing that plus temperature, not seeing that minus just yet. So no complaints, but tomorrow they will be seeing that 20. Beautiful Wednesday they will expect in North Battleford with a lot more sun. Cold Lake will be going down to a low of 4, so seeing that single digit there for their evening low. So not as cool as that we will be expecting, so still looking quite warm. Some cloudiness as well. Then tomorrow they will be looking close to that 20 with 19 throughout the day. So looking at another warm day. And for us here in the Border City, we're bringing out everyone. We're seeing that low of 5. So seeing a pretty nice evening tonight, I would say. Nothing to complain about for sure. Then 20 tomorrow, so seeing another beautiful day. So just be prepared. We're having another beautiful day tomorrow, so make sure to get outside and enjoy it. And ending off with some viewer photos. Thank you to everyone that have submitted some weather photo submissions once again. Got some beautiful ones here. This one's from Nadine. Nice shot. Love seeing the cat in the photo. Make sure to throw your pet in there every once in a while. That's always fun. And we got some Kid Scotty shots here. Absolutely beautiful fall colors from Vicky and one from Barb for this beautiful tree. So thank you once again for these submissions. And that's all I have for now. We'll have more coming up after the break.
Spiking things off in sports, the Lloydminster Barons senior boys volleyball team hosted a tournament called Baron Blast this past weekend. It saw multiple schools across town take part in it. And it also included a dramatic finish in the finals that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. Arad Ahmed has the story.
Over 15 teams took part in a volleyball tournament this past weekend at the Lloydminster Barons Gym. Schools from both Alberta and Saskatchewan were invited to the two-day tourney.
The competition was definitely there, and it's just good to see volleyball being so big, because a couple years ago it was these tournaments were not made possible. There's not as many teams, but it's good to see more people coming to play and competing and putting on a show.
But only one could be crowned as tournament champions, and it all came down to the final match between the crosstown rivals, the Holy Rosary Raiders and the Lloydminster Barons, a highly anticipated match. Both teams stole a set each to start things off, setting up for a third and final set that went the distance. And if you don't believe me, see it for yourself. And then, the game-winning point in this nail-biting game. The Barons would be crowned as tournament champions after a thrilling 21-19 win in the final set. Both teams spoke post-game about the spirited tilt.
No, it was perfect, yeah. All the Lloyd people came to watch. The atmosphere was absolutely amazing. So It was great.
Tough game. They've been our rivals forever, and last year they had a way better team than us, and this year it's a lot more balanced. So I'm hoping for next home tournament maybe we can put up a better fight and take it home. But they're a great team, good coaches. I know a lot of the players on the comp team. I've played with them before, so it's always fun. It's always a good game.
The Raiders will look to redeem themselves in their own home tournament when they take on the Barons at the end of the month. Adil Ahmed, Primetime, Local Sports.
A nice in-depth look at Barons Blast. Now for an in-depth look at weather all across the region. Shelby Clark.
Thanks so much again there, Mr. Ian Tidswell. Yes, now taking another extended look at your weather forecast. We will be starting off with our central zone of the provinces, and we will be starting off with our Alberta side. And we are looking at some nice warm conditions, kind of seeing the same as what we were looking at yesterday, but a couple degrees warmer even, especially for Red Deer and Rocky Mountain House, seeing that 24 degrees, 23 in Edmonton, and the rest are just seeing between 20 to 22. So not looking too bad, I would say, especially here in mid-October. I think we're looking pretty good. Hopefully we'll see this continue on and see that even for Halloween for all the kids out there and for all of us that still trick-or-treat, for me too. And now switching over to our Saskatchewan side for our central zone, we are looking slightly cooler in some areas. 16 in Melfort, 17 in Prince Albert, 18 in North Battleford, and we're seeing that 20 and 21 for Cold Lake, Meadow Lake, and Saskatoon. So looking warm over on this side as well, but a few degrees cooler compared to the Alberta side in some spots. Still can't really complain, still looking pretty good. Switching over to our northern zone now. They even just warmed up just slightly here, as you saw that change. They have warmed up quite a bit from what they were looking at yesterday, especially for La Loche and Buffalo Narrows, now at 20 degrees. Most are just seeing kind of late early teens right now with that 11 and 12 for Stony Rapids, Uranium City, and down in Flin Flon. We're seeing those mid-teens starting to start up with South End and Wollaston Lake, so they have warmed up by a few degrees compared to what they have been seeing throughout the week. And switching now back to Alberta side for our northern zone, they are looking a lot warmer as well, still sitting at those nice 20 temperatures in most areas. 20 in Peace River Wilderness, 21 in Fort McMurray, 22 over in Grand Prairie, and the rest are just a few degrees cooler with that 19, 18, and 17 for the rest. And going over to our southern zone now, not surprisingly, they are seeing the warmest conditions, especially for Lethbridge at that 26, so even almost closer to that 30 degrees. Absolutely wild to see that right now here in October. Already seeing some nice warm temperatures that we all kind of weren't expecting. Hopefully that will continue. Seeing that 24, 25 for Calgary and Coronation, while 21 for Medicine Hat and Banff. So most are just seeing past that 20 degree point, so looking pretty nice in our southern area. And going back to our Saskatchewan side to end things off, looking at our provinces here, they are still seeing not too bad of temperatures. 17, 15 for Yorkton and Estevan, so they're looking slightly cooler, but the rest start to warm up from there. Now most are seeing past that 20 degrees, while most were looking slightly cooler yesterday. 20 for Regina, while it's 22 and 23 in the rest. So I would say we're all looking quite warm for today. And now looking at some overnight temperatures that we can expect heading into Wednesday. Seeing some nice temperatures. We're seeing those single digits, but at least they're plus temperatures, not seeing those minus 30s and 40s quite yet. Seeing between a low of 3 to 5 degrees for most areas. Looking at some more here as we go on, we will be seeing with most seeing that low of 4 for Myrnam, Pearceland, and Wainwright, and seeing that low of 2 and 3 for Unity and Calgary. So seeing a nice night for most spots in the surrounding areas. Can't really complain. And ending off with our 7-day forecast here in the Border City. Get ready for a beautiful day tomorrow because we will be cooling down Thursday, Friday as we head into next week. And get ready. We're going to be seeing some gloomy days ahead into next week with next Monday and Tuesday. That's another look at your weather forecast. Our Ian Tidswell will have our news coming up after the break.
Now it's time to get a look at all those adorable pet pics you all sent in. Thank you so much for sending so many in.
See your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
I'm here at Border Paws Animal Rescue for this week's pet project, and today we have some more cats. This one currently is Harry. Can you tell me a little bit about him and his personality, how, kind of his story?
So yeah, Harry is about a 5 to 6 month old domestic short hair male. He's already neutered and up to date on vaccines. So yeah, he came in, actually, it's a funny story. He came in, some farmer found him on his acreage, and yeah, so he had 2 little kittens with him who appeared to be about 2 months younger than him. I'm not sure how he picked those kittens up along the way, but yeah, he came in with them and he was very protective over them, and they both found their forever home, so now he's just waiting for his.
Which is amazing. He kind of became like a foster dad to them, which is awesome. Now he's obviously still quite young himself, so he is very playful. Tell me a little bit more about his personality, because early on he was very, very sweet, and he obviously has this playful streak. So tell me a little bit about what to expect from him.
So yeah, he's very playful. He's also a snuggle bug. He pretty much has to sit or likes to climb up on the back of any volunteer that comes in here and demands attention. He is good with other cats. We put him with tons of other cats, and he seems to get along with everybody. Haven't really interacted with dogs too much, but they walk right past here every day, and we've had no issues. He seems like he's very curious about them and like to become friends with them as well.
Yes, I've already seen, just by being around him for a few minutes, you can already see that he just wants attention, he just wants love, that kind of perfect family. Now we have a couple other cats in here. One behind, trying to play.
She wants to come out.
Tell me a little bit about her, because she's quite younger than Harry is.
So this is Rio. You can't really see her right now because she's kind of a shy kitten. She's about, I would say, about 3 to 4 months old. Came in by herself. We're not really sure what happened with her. But yeah, she's up to date. She's spayed. She's ready. She would do better, I think, in a quieter home. Maybe with older children. I would say 10 and up, maybe. She is quite young, so she could come around, right? I mean, she only knows the shelter, so. But yeah, no, she would make, I think, a good addition with other animals as well, to kind of show her the way and show her humans aren't scary, so.
Yes, and now we have another one in the crate right now. She's been stuck in there.
Yeah,
just
so she's
chilling.
a little shyer. Loves other cats, though. We've had no issues. That's Lilac. She's about a year-old domestic short hair. Again, a little more timid than some of the cats, but I think she would definitely come around, and she'd do good with other cats. I think she'd do good with kids and dogs. She doesn't seem to mind. Doesn't really run over like she's curious, but I think with time she could come around.
Now, I know you have a ton of events scheduled for the rest of this year going forward. There has been a change to one of those events date-wise. Your carnival, can you tell me a little bit about the changes that are made and the actual date that it's now being put on?
So yeah, our carnival, we were hoping to do it on the same day as a tattoo fundraiser and do an outdoor, but unfortunately end of October, we can never predict the weather, and it has been mentioning that it could possibly snow that weekend. So we'd like to do an indoor venue. So we're gonna have it sometime in November, do more of a winter theme for that one. Be nice right before Christmas kind of thing. So yeah, we don't have the dates yet, but hopefully in the next week or two we'll have a specific date in mind, so.
And your Halloween, the tattoo event, that is still going on the right date?
That is, so yes, that is still on the 29th. We still have a few spots left, so if you are interested, there's still time to get booked in for that. As well as that same night, we have the Slay the Night drag show, and they're gonna have a silent auction there, and the proceeds going to us.
And now, with the new building coming up, what are your guys' plans for, are you gonna start hosting events there? What are kind of some of the plans that you have besides, moving all the animals in there once it's opened?
So yeah, actually that's a good question, because we're hoping to possibly maybe do our jail and bail there in December. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot more events there. We'll be able to do things like birthday parties and just have a more welcoming environment for all of the volunteers to come in. And then yeah, we're gonna probably look into doing puppy classes there, dog training. So when you adopt, then you can, do some classes there. So yeah, lots in the works there.
Now we ask this every week, but I feel like it is a very important question to ask. Any donations, food, toys, blankets, anything like that you're in need of?
So actually kitten food, any kitten food, kibble or wet. Last week We had, I believe, 25 kittens come in. Much of them were actually bottle babies too. So any bottles or milk replacements, we can always use stuff like that as well. So.
Have you seen an influx in stray kittens coming in?
Yes, I'm not sure what happened with last week. It was insane. So I'm hoping not as many this. It just seems like kitten season has started a little bit later this year. So, but yeah, no, last week was crazy with the amount of kittens coming in.
And it seems like that's the case, especially here during the winter. If somebody does find a stray, how do they go about getting it and then bringing it here?
So yeah, so usually we always ask you call first just because we only have so much room. I'm hoping once we're in the new building we are going to have a little bit more room, which will be nice. But yeah, just give us a call, let us know, especially kittens. Kittens we'll usually get in because we can get them into foster right away. If it's not too cold and the cat doesn't seem like it's bothering anybody, I would just report it to bylaw. But yeah, no, just give us a call and then we can kind of assist you from there.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining me today, and hopefully these kittens in here find their forever home.
Thank you.
Pet Project is sponsored by the Pet Pad. For total pet care, think Pet Pad.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
The Operation Christmas Child Shoebox campaign is gearing up for another year, and I'm joined today by a local organizer, Ruby Trudell, to talk a little bit more about what's going on this year. Now, Ruby, this campaign has been going on here in Lloydminster for more than 25 years, but for those who don't know anything about us, give us a run through of how it works.
Operation Christmas Child is an opportunity for people in Canada and 14 other countries in the world to send shoebox gifts of hope and joy to children that are going through desperate situations like war, natural disasters like terrible flooding, those that are in extreme poverty. And to lift those children up with shoebox gifts that demonstrate that people in our country care. And the children feel a sense of love and hope and joy. And we know that because they come back to Operation Christmas Child as adults and tell us how much those gifts have meant to them. And many of them keep significant things out of the shoebox well into adulthood.
Now, this year's boxes coming from Canada will be going to kids in Ukraine, Philippines, Central America, and Western Africa. You touched on it a little bit in your other question, but what's the impact of these boxes on the children that receive them?
The impact is really significant. It might be quite surprising to those of us in North America that have so much. We don't recognize that people in third world countries don't even have school supplies. The children don't have pencils and paper. They don't have a bar of soap. They don't have a washcloth, and they certainly don't have any toys as we know them. And to be able to put those things into the hands of a child and into a community just makes such a significant impact. And it makes the children feel a sense of hope. They tell us that oftentimes they're in a situation where they just feel hopeless, like their life is never going to change. It's always going to be this extreme poverty. And then they get a shoebox gift, and it demonstrates to them that somebody in the rest of the world actually cares about them and the situation that they're in. And it lifts them up, and it gives them an encouragement to carry on. We hear that over and over and over. There are just so many, many, many stories.
That's great to hear. And I know that last year, over 2,000 boxes were sent from this area alone. For people who are interested this year in sending their boxes, I know they should take plastic off of the items and tags off, but what should they be putting in their boxes?
Probably the most important thing to a child is a wow item. So that is the item that when the child opens the box, their eyes just light up. And for many of us, that's a cuddly thing, a teddy bear, or a cuddly toy of some kind. That's probably the most significant thing to the child, but then also the practical items of school supplies like pencils and crayons and writing paper, and hygiene items like a toothbrush and soap in a solid container and a washcloth. and then a few toys as well.
That's awesome. You want to make sure you're doing a well-rounded box, a little bit of everything in there. Where can people pick up a box here in town and then drop them off to be sent away?
We have several businesses in Lloydminster where people can pick up a shoebox. Walking on Water, of course, is the ultimate toy store, so they have boxes. And Silverwood Toyota has boxes. Spiro's Restaurant and Sobeys also has boxes. And then Dollar Store with More has two kinds of boxes. You can either get an empty box and fill it yourself, or you can purchase one of the boxes that they have already pre-packed. And boxes, when you choose a box, you also have to decide whether you want it to go to a boy or a girl. And then you also have to decide on the age. There are 3 different age groups. And for those that would like to do something really special, the most difficult group to find a box for is the boys aged 10 to 14. Those are the most challenging. When we're distributing the shoe boxes, there are never enough for the boys 10 to 14. And something that's interesting that we find when doing the distribution is that the boys, the older boys, want those stuffies, they want those cuddly toys as well. And if there isn't a cuddly toy in their box, they will try and bargain with a younger child for something else so that they can get that cuddly toy. So boys 10 to 14 in third world countries, excuse me, are a little different than our boys here. That's where you can get the boxes. And then there is more than one way to pack a shoebox. You can pack it in person, or you can pack it online. So you just go to Samaritan's Purse website and you go to pack a box, and you can do it all online if you prefer to do that. And there were about 100 people in this area that packed online last year, and that seems to be more popular all the time. And some of us like to pack our own shoe boxes, to take the box and to go to the stores and see how much we can cram in there.
Now, it's great that there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. Makes it easy for a lot of different people. Great to see a lot of local stores also on board supporting this. And some of those stores where you pick up the box, you can do shopping to fill it right there. I also think it would be nice to take people to take their kids through and pack the box together. A great learning experience, it seems.
It's interesting to hear from parents, particularly the effect of packing shoebox with their children, the effect that that has on the children, for them to be able to think that there are others that don't have the things that we take for granted, and just to let their imagination go and to see what they think should go into that box and give them a little bit of guidance. It's a real education tool, and I think it exercises our compassion, which sometimes is a little bit lacking.
And Ruby, before you go, is there anything else you want to share when it comes to the shoe boxes this year?
This campaign comes to an end the 3rd week in November. So November 14th to the 20th is the collection week, and people can drop off their boxes at Safeway, at Spiro's, at Silverwood Toyota, Southridge Community Church, and Walking on Water. Those are the places that they can drop them off. If they have boxes from a team, like there are a few businesses in town that are packing boxes as a team, if you bring them to Southridge Community Church, we can record that as a team and keep track of that from one year to the next. That is something that a few businesses enjoy to do. And then B&R Eccles is very kind. Every year gifts us free transport to the processing center in Calgary. And we look through those boxes to prepare them for customs and tape them up and then send them on their way.
All right, Ruby. Well, thank you so much for joining me to talk a little bit more about the campaign this year, and wish you the best of luck.
And enough with another quick look at your 7-day forecast. Get ready for a beautiful day tomorrow at 20, and then getting a high chance of that precipitation Thursday, cooling down again on Friday, right ahead of the weekend, unfortunately. Then seeing that 5 and 3 Saturday and Sunday, and a high possible chance of some showers both days. So just be prepared. We got some gloomier days ahead. Then we will be seeing some even gloomier days next Monday and Tuesday.
That's all the time we have for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have yourself an excellent day.